Start your Canada pension plan at 60, and you lock in a permanent cut of 36%. Wait until 70, and you lock in a permanent raise of 42%. Same pension, 3 very different checks. And today, we walk through the math that decides which one is right for you. No products, no pitch. Just the numbers. Here is the choice everyone with CPP eventually faces. You can start as early as age 60. You can start at the standard age of 65. Or you can wait as late as age 70. That is the whole menu. 3 doors, and the one you pick changes your monthly check for the rest of your life. Most people treat this as a gut decision, a feeling about whether to grab the money now or hold out for more later. It is really an arithmetic one. And the good news is, the arithmetic is not complicated. It is just 2 numbers and 1 idea. So let us build it up slowly, and by the end, the choice will feel a lot less like a mystery. Take CPP before 65, and the government reduces your monthly pension by 0.6% for every month you start early. That is a permanent reduction, and this is the part people get wrong. It does not bounce back when you turn 65. It does not reset. Whatever reduction you lock in at the start, you carry for life. Now let us stretch that out. Starting at 60 means 60 months before the standard age. 60 months, at 0.6% each, adds up to a permanent reduction of 36%. In plain terms, if your pension at 65 would have been a full dollar, starting at 60 gives you about 64 cents of that dollar every month for the rest of your life. Now the other direction. Wait past 65, and the government does the opposite. It increases your monthly pension by 0.7% for every month you delay, right up to age 70. Same rule in reverse, permanent, and it stays with you for life. Stretch that out too. Waiting from 65 to 70 is another 60 months at 0.7% each. That is a permanent increase of 42%. If your pension at 65 would have been $1, waiting until 70 turns it into about $1.42 for life. So look at the full spread. The very same underlying pension can pay you 64 cents if you start at 60, a full $1 at 65, or $1.42 at 70. From bottom to top, that is more than double. That is not a small tuning knob. It is one of the largest levers you will ever have over your own retirement income. Quick note before we go further. If this is the kind of explanation you have been looking for, the arithmetic, with the source on screen, and nobody trying to sell you anything, then subscribing tells me to keep making it. That is the whole ask. Percentages can feel abstract, so let us put a real number underneath them. As of April 2026, the average new Canada Pension Plan retirement pension for someone starting at 65 was about $877 a month. Imagine your own pension at 65 landed right on that average. Start at 60 instead, and that same pension becomes about $561 a month. Wait until 70, and it becomes about $1,245 a month. Same person, same contribution history. The only thing that changed is the year you filled out the form. Now, hold those 2 numbers side by side, about $561 or about $1,245. That is a gap of nearly $700 a month, every month, for decades. This is the scale of what we are deciding. Here is the catch, and it is the heart of the whole decision. Starting early does not simply mean less money. It means a smaller check, but for more years. Starting late does not simply mean more money. It means a larger check, but for fewer years. So the larger check is not automatically the better deal. $1.42 starting at 70 only beats 64 cents starting at 60 if you collect it long enough to make up for the 10 years you waited. Which brings us to the one idea that ties this whole episode together, the break-even age. Think of it as a race between two versions of you. One version started early and has a head start, years of checks already in the bank. The other started later with a bigger check, slowly closing the gap. The break-even age is the moment the later starter finally pulls ahead. Compare starting at 60 against starting at 65. In nominal dollars, that means before we adjust for tax or inflation, the person who waited to 65 catches up at roughly age 74. Before 74, starting early was ahead. After 74, waiting was ahead. Now compare 65 against 70. On the same nominal basis, before tax and before indexing, waiting until 70 pulls ahead at roughly age 82. I want to be careful here, because these two ages are illustrations, not promises. They assume no tax and no inflation adjustment, and your real numbers will shift with both. The point is not the exact age, it is the shape of the trade. The longer you wait, the longer you need to live for that patience to pay off. That is the whole decision in one sentence. So the natural question is, how long do people actually live? Statistics Canada's life tables put remaining life expectancy at age 65 at roughly 20 more years for men and about 22 more years for women. In other words, a typical 65-year-old is expected to reach their mid-80s. Averages hide a lot. Some live well beyond that, some not as long, and your own health and family history matter more than any table. But set that reality beside the break-even ages. If waiting to 70 pulls ahead around 82 and a typical 65-year-old is expected to reach their mid-80s, then for many people, not everyone, the delay math is at least worth a serious look. That is not a recommendation. It is simply one number sitting next to another. And while that number is sitting there, I am curious about something. Drop a comment and tell me which province or city you are watching from. This decision looks different in Halifax than it does in Victoria, and I would genuinely like to know who I am talking to. So, how do you actually use all this? Not with a formula, but with 3 honest questions. First, do you need the income now? If starting CPP early is what lets you pay the bills or stop draining your savings, the permanent reduction may be a price worth paying. A smaller check you can use today can beat a larger one you never reach. Second, how is your health, and how long did your parents live? The entire case for waiting rests on collecting that bigger check for many years. If you have real reason to expect a long life, the delay bonus works harder for you. Third, what else are you living on? If you have other income to carry you through your 60s, you can afford to wait and buy yourself the largest possible guaranteed inflation-protected check later. If you do not, that patience may be a luxury you cannot use. Notice what is not on that list. A single right answer. Starting early is not a mistake. Waiting is not automatically smarter. They are simply answers to different lives. What the math does is take the guesswork out of the trade-off. You now know the early penalty, the delay bonus, what they look like in real dollars, and roughly where the break-even ages fall. The rest is your own situation, and that part only you can answer. If working through the numbers like this was useful, that is exactly what this channel does. Canadian retirement and tax, one decision at a time, always with the sources on screen. So tell me what to run the numbers on next. The OAS clawback, when to convert an RRSP to a RIF, how the TFSA fits around all of it, leave it in the comments. And if enough of you ask for the same thing, I will build it and have it up for you in the next week or two. Like the video if it earned it, subscribe if you want the next one, and thanks for watching. This video is education, not financial, tax, or legal advice. Everyone's situation is different, so talk to a licensed professional before making decisions.